Hey there my fellow druids, Zaior here with a brand new high-end build to grab up this season, since Season 9 is just around the corner. This setup is all about spamming Petrify to trigger massive Earthen Bulwark explosions and melt everything inside. The build is focused on pushing deep into the pit and one-shotting the game over bosses like it's nothing. So without wasting more time, let's dive into how it works, the optimal gear, skills and Paragon boards to get the most out of it. It's still a work in progress, but the foundation is rock solid. Okay, how it works. First and most important, the build relies on bringing Petrify cooldown down to 10 seconds or less, so you can cast it again and again. This is the key to making it all run smooth. How to get there? You will need a DRUIDS, the totem with cooldown reduction, temperance and your main boss power. Once you hit the 10-second cooldown mark, Flicker Step Boots will help you fully reset Petrify while pushing content. Now, here is where the damage comes in. Watch closely. This training dummy will help us show how Petrify plus Earthen Bulwark combo into a same burst of damage. I'm still figuring out whether it scales better with willpower or max life, but for now, willpower seems to be our main damage multiplier. Let's talk gear. We start off with our beloved Basilisk Sprayer, turning all our earth skills into werewolf skills, so we can take full advantage of passive and paragon bonuses. Stack that willpower. This chest piece, mandatory, is the best in the game, roll max life or all stats. For globes, look for great graphics in willpower and stack max life on all resistance for survivability. Still debating between air crit chance or wherever overpowered damage for tempering. I went with overpower to see big numbers, but crit might be more consistent. Still testing that. For pants, I'm currently using a pair with the Stormshifter aspect for +5 to shapeshifting skills. Again, go for greater affix willpower and temper with total armor and petrified duration. Boots, Flicker Steps. Essential for resisting Petrify when you dash through enemies. You need that 4-second passive, no way around it. Fleshlender is your core weapon. Its unique power lets our defensive skill deal massive damage. The more willpower, the harder you hit. Stack Backlash for a serious boost in DPS. For the amulet, the one I'm using is solid, but I couldn't get perfect tempering check my player for ideal stats. Focus on willpower and envenom. Natural balance aspect boost Earthen Bulwark crit damage by 105%. Huge damage spike. Iridas is another key piece, with tons of cooldown reduction for Petrify and pull effect every time we cast our ultimate. For the other ring, look for willpower, max life and crit chance, with greater affix in willpower. Tempering wherever overpower, aspect crash stones, which gives plus 75% damage to Earthen Bulwark. F crit chance and Petrify CD are both essential. The totem is very important for this build. Prioritize willpower, crit chance and cooldown, all with greater affix. Aspect, Bem and Roller, it's buff our damage and gives +2 to Petrify. The skill tree isn't too complex. It focuses mainly on defensive abilities and Petrify, along with key passives. Here is where all the damage comes from. We use these abilities to trigger massive overpower hits. Important passives, Envenom, Catastrophe, and the MVP, Backlash, which cranks up your damage big time. Petrify should be fully ranked so your cooldown resets kick in every time you cast it. From the key passive, we take Ursine Strange, the best fit for this build. Now onto the Paragon setup. We start with Headhunter Glyph. Boost willpower, overall stats, and gives bonus damage to Elite. Mandatory Glyph. Earthen Devastation is essential for making Earthen Bulwark pop off. The notes and glyph here push its damage to the max. The next is Survival Instinct. For defense and damage, pair it with the Keeper Glyph for even more damage. The classic Haunted Malice plus Spirit combo is one of Druid's best for scaling damage. Ancestral Guidance rounds it out. Thanks to the Cax rune, we will be spending resources constantly, which activates Legendary Note and gives +40 damage. The glyphs here is no-brainer. Dominate. It will push your numbers through the roof. Our main boss power, Euribar. Every time we use our ultimate, fireballs rain down, dealing extra fire damage and giving us 15% more cooldown reduction for faster ultimate cycles. Belial Iving for that sweet plus 30% overpower damage. Cinerat's Flame adds another plus 25% elemental damage to full the build. And the Heartbringer brings a plus 30% damage to vulnerable enemies. A huge boost in fights. Okay, for runes, we are using San Shan. By repeatedly casting our ultimate, we guarantee overpower hits at some point. Then we got Jewel Cax. This double our damage. Jewel charts up every time we cast a cooldown skill, filling Cax and triggering the effect. Alright my fellow druids, this build is designed to close out Season 8 with a bang. It's a high-end setup, so you will need solid gear and high levels to enjoy it fully. Might even one of the top contenders for Season 9. It still needs some fine-tuning, but the core is there. If you like the content, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I will see you in Sanctuary.